A good night's sleep has very little to do with buying an expensive mattress or finding the perfect pillow. It has everything to do with how your bedroom is actually designed. After looking at what the research says and seeing what works in real homes, I've narrowed it down to 10 design mistakes that silently sabotage people's rest every single night. Most of these cost nothing to fix. Some you can change in 5 minutes. And if you've had your bedroom set up the same way for decades and you're sleeping just fine, chances are you already avoided most of these without even knowing it. But if you're not sleeping well and you can't figure out why, one of these mistakes is probably the reason. This was never about comfort. It was about design decisions made without understanding how sleep actually works. If that sounds like a problem worth fixing, subscribe and hit like. Let's start with the most overlooked one. Your bed is in the wrong position. Most people put their bed wherever it fits and never think about it again. But where your bed sits in the room affects your sleep more than you might expect. If your headboard is against a window, you are dealing with temperature swings, drafts, street noise, and early morning light, all of which pull you out of deep sleep without you realizing it. If your bed shares a wall with a bathroom, you might be hearing pipes at 3 a.m. You will not consciously register it, but your brain does, and it keeps you in lighter sleep stages. There is also the question of orientation. A study in the International Journal of Indian Psychology found that participants sleeping in certain positions reported better sleep quality and lower blood pressure. Whether this relates to magnetic fields or simply feeling more secure in the space is not fully understood yet. But what we do know is that feeling safe while you sleep matters more than most people realize. Sleep experts consistently recommend what they call the commanding position, where you can see the door from bed without being directly in line with it, and your headboard rests against a solid interior wall. This might sound like feng shui mysticism, but it is also common sense. When you feel protected, you relax. When you relax, you sleep deeper. If you can only change one thing, make it the solid wall behind your head. Your room is too warm. This one has decades of research behind it, and yet most people still sleep in rooms that are too hot. Here's the biology. Your body needs to drop in temperature to fall asleep. It's not optional. It's how human physiology works. When your bedroom is too warm, that cooling process gets interrupted and you end up tossing, waking up, and spending less time in the deep restorative stages that actually make you feel rested. The Cleveland Clinic recommends keeping your bedroom between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. If that sounds cold, you're not alone. Most people keep their bedrooms around 70 or higher. But a massive study published in Nature Communications last year, involving over 214,000 participants and 23 million nights of tracked sleep, found that for every 10 degrees Celsius increase in room temperature, the odds of insufficient sleep went up by more than 20%. This matters even more as we get older. After 55, our bodies produce less melatonin and regulate temperature less efficiently. A cooler room compensates for what our physiology no longer handles automatically. You don't need to blast the AC, a ceiling fan, breathable cotton sheets, or simply removing one layer of bedding can make a noticeable difference. Your lighting is working against you. If your bedroom has those bright, cool white LED bulbs, the ones marketed as daylight, you're essentially telling your brain it's still afternoon when you should be winding down. Most standard LEDs are rated above 3000 Kelvin, which means they emit a significant amount of blue spectrum light, and blue light is a problem. Harvard researchers found that exposure to blue light suppresses melatonin for about twice as long as green light, roughly 3 hours versus an hour and a half. That's a significant difference when you're trying to fall asleep. One lighting expert put it well: the biggest mistake homeowners make is using standard LEDs above 3000 Kelvin in their bedrooms after dark. These bulbs look modern and efficient, but they're actively fighting your body's natural sleep signals. The fix is simple. Swap your bedroom bulbs for warm white LEDs rated at 2700 Kelvin or lower. Add dimmer switches so you can gradually lower the light in the hour before bed. And if outside light is an issue, street lamps, early sunrises, blackout curtains, or blackout linings on your existing curtains will solve that. Your grandmother's house didn't have LED panels blasting blue light at 10 p.m. There's wisdom in that. Visual clutter is keeping your brain awake. This might seem like it's about aesthetics, but it's actually about how your brain processes space. When you look around your bedroom and see piles of laundry, stacks of unread books, paperwork on the dresser, storage boxes crammed under the bed, your brain reads all of that as unfinished tasks. It's not relaxing, it's stimulating, and stimulation is the opposite of what you need when you're trying to sleep. Research published in the journal Sleep found that people who regularly decluttered their bedroom reported better sleep quality. Neuroscience backs this up. Visual clutter creates what researchers call sensory overload, where your brain keeps processing stimuli instead of shutting down for rest. Psychology professor Joseph Ferrari at DePaul University has studied this for years and found a clear negative relationship between clutter and life satisfaction. Interestingly, his research suggests women tend to be more affected by clutter-related stress than men. This isn't about becoming a minimalist or following design trends. It's about giving your brain a clear signal that this room is for rest, not for tomorrow's to-do list. Keep only sleep-related things visible. A lamp, maybe a book, a glass of water. Everything else should be behind closed doors or out of the room entirely. If your bedroom has looked the same for 30 years and you're sleeping well, you've probably maintained this balance without thinking about it. A mirror facing your bed. Large mirrors are great for making spaces feel bigger, but when they directly reflect your bed, they can quietly disrupt your sleep. The practical issue is movement. Reflections caught by your peripheral vision, even your own body shifting at night, can trigger micro-awakenings. You won't remember them, but they fragment your sleep and leave you feeling less rested. Design experts consistently advise against placing mirrors where they face the bed directly. As one interior designer noted, while mirrors enhance a room's spaciousness, caution is needed in bedrooms because reflections at night can be distracting and create unease. You don't have to remove your mirrors. Just reposition them to a side wall, inside a closet door, or at an angle that doesn't catch the bed. If you have a large dresser mirror that can't be moved, try tilting it slightly or draping something over it at night. It sounds strange, but people who've tried it often report sleeping better. Screens in the bedroom. This is the one with the most overwhelming evidence behind it. A study published in Frontiers in Psychiatry last year tracked over 45,000 university students and found that each additional hour of screen time in bed was associated with a 59% higher risk of insomnia and about 24 fewer minutes of sleep. Another study in JAMA Network Open, looking at over 122,000 adults, found that people who use screens before bed sleep almost 50 minutes less per week and report significantly worse sleep quality. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine says 87% of Americans sleep with their phone in their bedroom. That's not surprising. Our phones are our alarm clocks, our connection to everything. But there's a cost. Beyond the blue light issue, there's the visual weight of screens themselves. As one designer put it, televisions look like black boxes when they're off, which is most of the time. They don't belong in a space designed for rest. I'm not going to tell you to throw out your TV or banish your phone. But what if you charged it in another room? What if you used an old-fashioned alarm clock? What if the TV lived in the living room instead of staring at you while you try to fall asleep? These are small changes. The research suggests they could give you back hours of sleep each week. The wrong colors on your walls. Color affects mood. This isn't just designer opinion, it's documented psychology. If your bedroom is painted in bright, saturated colors, vivid reds, electric oranges, bold yellows, your brain receives stimulating signals when it should be calming down. Interior designers who specialize in bedrooms consistently warn against these colors for exactly this reason. One designer explained that she avoids brighter colors like red because they stimulate energy and make relaxation more difficult. Another noted that bright versions of red, orange, and yellow are often associated with anxiety and even arguments, not what you want in a space meant for peace. The colors that work for sleep are soft blues, sage greens, warm neutrals, and muted earth tones. These create calm without making the room feel sterile. If your paint has been the same for 20 years and you're sleeping fine, don't change it just because someone says it's dated. Function matters more than fashion, but if you're repainting anyway, choose calm over bold. Energizing scents before bed. This one is subtle, but it adds up. That peppermint candle you love, it might be keeping you awake. Research published in the International Journal of Neuroscience found that while floral scents like ylang ylang promote relaxation, peppermint and citrus actually increase alertness and sharpen memory, exactly what you don't want at bedtime. Sleep experts confirm this. Scents like peppermint are energizing, which makes them great for your home office or kitchen, but counterproductive in a bedroom. If you like having scents in your bedroom, switch to lavender, chamomile, vanilla, or ylang ylang in the evening. Save the invigorating stuff for daytime spaces where alertness is actually useful. Too much furniture. If you're constantly bumping into things when you get up at night, if there's no clear path to the bathroom, if your room feels cramped even though it's a reasonable size, you probably have too much furniture. One interior advisor put it simply: if you find yourself constantly bumping into furniture in your bedroom, it's time to rethink your layout. Another expert warned against pushing the bed into a corner to make room for more storage, because it creates a claustrophobic feeling and often puts you too close to a radiator or window. For those of us over 55, this is also about safety. Clear pathways at night prevent falls. The ability to move around your bed easily isn't just comfortable, it's practical. Look around your bedroom and ask whether every piece of furniture is actually serving a purpose. The chair no one sits in. The dresser that's mostly empty. The nightstand stacked with things that should be somewhere else. Sometimes the floor space is worth more than what's taking it up. Inadequate window treatments. Finally, your curtains or blinds might be costing you sleep without you realizing it. If you have sheer curtains with nothing behind them, or blinds with gaps that let light leak in around the edges, early morning light and street lamps are disrupting your sleep. Research confirms that people in areas with bright outdoor lighting at night have more trouble sleeping than those in darker environments. Design experts are blunt about this. Thin curtains that let the rising sun wake you up at first light don't allow for the simple pleasure of sleeping in. You don't need expensive custom window treatments. Adding blackout linings to existing curtains works. Installing simple blackout roller blinds behind sheers works. Even just choosing thicker, more opaque fabric makes a difference. Light control is one of the most impactful changes you can make, and it works every single night. So those are the 10 mistakes. Most of them cost nothing to fix, some take 5 minutes. Move your bed to a better position. Lower your thermostat a few degrees. Swap the cool white bulbs for warm ones. Clear the visual clutter. Reposition that mirror. Reconsider where your screens live. Choose calming colors and scents. Remove the furniture that's just taking up space, and control your light. What I find interesting is this. If your bedroom has been set up the same way since the 1980s and you've always slept well, you probably avoided most of these instinctively. Bedrooms used to be simpler. They were for sleeping, not for entertainment, not for work, not for storage. Somewhere along the way, that changed. Our bedrooms became media rooms, and home offices and overflow closets, and our sleep paid the price. The research is finally catching up to what common sense already knew. If you recognized any of these mistakes in your own home, let me know in the comments which one you're going to fix first. And if you know someone who keeps complaining about not sleeping well, send them this video. It might not be their mattress. It might be their room. See you in the next one.